Hey folks, good morning and welcome back to the channel. Happy Catty Crypto here. I hope you had a nice weekend. I know for football fans it's not been quite what you thought it would be this time round, but there's always next time and we keep moving forward with things as always. So currently the kind of talk of the town are a few things, but the thing I want to focus on mostly here is IBCs and kind of trying to explain to people what to expect with the re-enabling of IBCs. Now, there's a huge misconception with people thinking that IBCs are not currently enabled because they are. They are enabled on our side, but I've explained this in a few ways, but a good way to explain it is we need to make a handshake with each one of these blockchains, so to speak, on the Cosmos that we can communicate with. We need to have that handshake to say with each other, yes, we're happy to do this. So the way you do this is through proposals. And as you can see there's one that's just gone up 3 hours ago, which is to re-enable the client between Lunar Classic and Crescent. And then you've also got one up submitted 6 days ago, which is the unfreeze for Osmosis. And these are those handshakes. So a lot of people and a lot of YouTubers are jumping on this bandwagon of, IBCs are going to, turn back on and we're going to shoot to the moon. It's going to change everything. But people need to understand what is going to happen. We're going to be able to more or less communicate with blockchains and utilize technology on other blockchains quite easily. And it opens up a lot more doors. It's actually going to release some Lunar Classic. I think it's around the 300 to 400 billion mark. Those coins are already part of the supply. So you don't need to worry about those adding to anything or anything like that. They're there and they're already accounted for. So IBCs. So IBCs realistically, it's like fueling innovation by enabling dApps built on top of a protocol, okay, to do much more than what they thought they could do initially. And this is in the simple sense of you have more things to integrate with, you have more things to mess around with, test out and see what you can do with that kind of technology. And because the bridge is there and it makes it so easily between the two, you then get this kind of interchain system. And Lunar's interchain alliance system, however you want to call it, is kind of like a souped up version of what IBCs currently are. So as to what IBCs are going to be in the future, it could all change and it could just end up that IBCs kind of become obsolete because alliance will be doing so much more. And that's the idea of going through the Terra Station update that's currently being done and being I've shown screenshots of it before here on the channel, but it is currently in the works and Lunar Classic is part of that. So even outside of legacy Terra Station, which we will still have, and the keys are being handed over to the correct people as far as I'm aware, we're still going to have access to the Alliance interchain Terra Station, which will just be called Station. So that in itself opens up so many more doors to developers, to current dApps and current projects. So I wouldn't think that if there's any kind of price movement, once people realize that all of these proposals gone through and they then see it as, the IBCs are open, I would only think there would be FOMO for the sheer fact of the average YouTuber putting out that kind of clickbait content as to just draw people in, its RPM and things like that. So this in itself, the best way to explain it is just turning everything back on. It's then down to people to utilize the technology at hand to build and develop and move forward and find more innovation in the systems that they're currently using, because cross-chain validation allows for running the proof logic from one chain to another. So there's like an information packet sent from each chain that will say to each other, oh, so you want this software and I have to be using this, and everybody agrees to be using the same thing at all times. And that's when a a validator then starts using outdated software that the broader consensus isn't using, and that's when you can become jailed and things like that. But anyway, that's a totally different box of frogs, so to speak. So a in an ideal world, right, getting this all back online it's all part of the flow that Terra had before, right? But at the end of everything, we still need people to build and want to innovate on things. And when I did the podcast with Fafi, the idea of a DEX has always been there. It's been suggested by so many people across the board, but I really do believe that proposal 11049 has a huge amount of potential, and especially with the amount of people out there that can sort of add and attribute to this. And what would be nice if people have got objections and stuff like that, then maybe try working with the person who created the proposal to possibly tweak it to make it better in the future and stuff like that. I think this whole idea of fighting each other should kind of dull down a little bit, and people think to themselves, well, maybe I can actually work with these people and we can actually merge ideas. And working with people in the community it's what it creates more growth. And everybody gets on in this ideal world, but it's not like that in LUNC. There's a lot of different factions. I think people are realizing this more and more and more. But ultimately, IBCs are going to open up doors that we didn't have before, and it's going to possibly shed light in places that were dark for people before. And people might not even know that this amount of work is going on in Lunar Classic, and then suddenly it pops up in their feed for, say, they're in Atom, Juno, places like or Crescent, and they realize, oh, I can actually utilize some of the Terra technology again. We've got loads of unused stable quants at the moment, which are just kind of doing nothing. They're not worth a great deal. People actually get pretty confused with them, but there is a need for an algorithmic stable coin, and hopefully someone's going to jump on this. But there's always that issue that you're going to find with a coin like USTC, and it's the simple fact that wallets like the hot wallet, regardless of who owns them or what they're split down into, there's a serious amount of coins that are just held by individuals. And the problem behind USTC is actually getting a hold of the majority of those coins to then be able to provide a stable system and things like that. So there's so many different questions with that. But IBCs in themselves, they are there, they are usable, and we're just literally getting the handshakes all together now. The voting on these, they go through like wildfire, because a lot of people understand that this is very simple. It's a client update. It's being done by a specific person, and but just ensure that you do read things, you do look at proposals, and you're doing your own research alongside whatever you're watching or whoever you're consuming content from, because it's always important that you understand what's going on and not always trusting what the everyday person says or the loudest person in the room. So folks, have a really nice day wherever you are. Beginning of a new week, rolling on to Christmas. If you've got snow in the UK, I hope you're having a snow day or something like that today. And just stay safe, beware of scammers, drive safe if you're driving anywhere today. That's super important. And yeah, just beware of all the scammers and awful people that are out there. And we'll catch you in the next one.